Welcome back, man. We're back. We're live. Make sure we got the audio popping. Yeah, we're live, man. We're live. Takeaways from training camp. Day 1 officially in the books. Let that beat drop a little bit. Okay, hold up. It's not dropping. Let me turn it up a little bit. Day 1 of training camp's in the books. We got the takeaways. Everybody's been posting their notes from training camp today. And I didn't want to wait. So I thought we'd just jump into this. We'll do one tonight as a live stream. Maybe we clip it. I don't know. But shoot, we're going to do it live. So at very worst, it's here. And just talk about what we heard so far today. Not really injury related. More so just from practice. We kind of already did the injury thing. So we'll kind of leave that. But there is one update from injuries today that we'll throw in here. This was cool because usually I don't see these posts until I see them like on X or something because someone actually like reposted it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. I'm glad that he did that. I actually saw this one from its source like 2 minutes after it was posted. I think it was 2 minutes after it was posted, and I was pretty fired up. I'm like, oh, man, look, dude, I was like one of the first ones, dude. I should have posted this on X. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I missed an opportunity. That's what happened here. And that's what this is. Let me throw it on the screen. 10 minutes. Okay, I was 10 minutes late. I should have posted this on X. I don't know how fast it was posted. I'm sure somebody did it. 10 minutes. I was 10 minutes late to the party. Rakestraw posted on Instagram. I think he's in a car right here. That he's good, chill. So there was an update that apparently examined for a chest injury. Then we heard chest contusion, I think is what it was like officially reported. Which is like, okay, that doesn't seem that serious. Apparently it's not that serious. He's good. He's fine. So positive there. I really don't panic, I think, too much with a lot of the chest stuff when I hear that. But if we need any clarification, we got it from the man himself. So that's good to hear. All right, Rakestraw is going to be okay. That's the injury news. Everything else, though, we're going to dive into. All right, everything else, though, we're going to dive into. And I got some wild theories after reading some of this stuff. Or theories, predictions, thoughts after reading some of this stuff. Also, I might be reaching on a couple things, too, here. So hang with me, because some of this might be a reach. But we're going to do it anyway. We're just going to do it. Let's get right to it. Hutch doing team drills. I think so. From what I read, it sounded like it. It sounded like he was out there doing that kind of stuff. That's what it sounded like. I mean, we definitely saw him in the video, so I think so. All right, let's get right to the video first. The Lions posted like a 50-second video of like highlights today. Nothing crazy with this footage, but there was one thing that stood out to me when watching this. So I thought we'd run through this first, and then we'll go through some of the notes that they gave us today. Not a ton of craziness with these clips. It's kind of just like it feels like a short trailer that they would post like 30 seconds long to get you hyped up about something. This first play was great. I understood why they threw this one in here first. I don't know what Amik Robertson's doing, if I'm being honest with you, in terms of like just completely losing the receiver on this play. But he made a good effort. He actually almost got his hand on it. Tim Patrick tracks it. There's a deep shot. We heard there were a lot of deep shots today. I'm expecting that going forward, a lot of deep shots down the field. That should be fun and exciting. Always love those. But the clip that I want to talk about is coming up here. This one. Jack Campbell moving around. Now, normally this is just like okay, it's just Jack Campbell moving around. There's nothing here. But immediately when I saw this, I thought, Jack Campbell looks way lighter. I don't know if that's true or not. But immediately that's my first thought that hit my mind is like, yo, Jack Campbell looks thin. Like, that's not to say, like, he was big before, but it looks like he's slimmer. Like, this looks like the kind of guy that really, like almost like the Ali McNeil. That's kind of the vibe that I got with this at the linebacker position. Now, he needs to be a little stocky because that's what his game is, stack and shed, that kind of thing, being stout. So he needs that to be himself. But I always think about the coverage element, and I'm watching him move around, and it's just a video clip. So we'll get a better idea, especially when we start to see this stuff in person. But, man, like, just the thought of like, okay, the man coverage and wanting to see the growth there and how we play stylistically defensively, and you're trying to carve out, well, what's the best role for him if we play so much man on third down? Like, what's the best spot? Do we just drop him in zone all the time? Do we just put him in man anyway? And he did some of that last year for us anyway. And I always thought that was just something that wasn't always super reliable depending on the matchup. And as soon as I saw this, I just got that vibe. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he was like, I got to be able to stick with dudes a little bit better this year. All right. So I might be reaching on this, but that's the sense that I got when looking at this. Like, I got to be able to stick with guys a little bit. I got to be able to run with guys a little bit. All right. I need to be able to get in dudes' hips. I got to be shut down, but I got to be able to run. I need to have that versatility in coverage. Okay. Especially if I'm going to be a consistent 3-down player, you can't take me off the field. And dude, I'm telling you, he looks he just looks slimmer. I don't know. He looks like he's going towards that. Like, I'm going to be able to run a little bit this year. That's exciting. Otherwise, all these clips, there wasn't really much here. I mean, we got Zach Horton running a little drag route. This was cool. The 180 turn. Yeah, DJ Reed can roll, man. Just seeing him get out of that, seeing him flip out of that was nice. Got some smooth flips here. Really nothing else outside of that. Just that one clip of seeing Jack Campbell move around got me fired up. Like, it's something's interesting about this. But anyways, we'll leave that there. Okay, we'll go to the notes. I want to get these ideas out there from what I read today. Any chance he comes back. So, look, man, my stance on this, I don't think will change. I don't think there's something that will change this. I think he's going to resign at some point. But again, I just think it's very straightforward is the way I see it. I think there's a number of lines they're willing to pay, and I think if he's willing to get there, then they'll get a deal done. I think ultimately a deal will get done. I think at some point he'll be a Lion. My guess is I don't think he's not going to play anywhere this year. I don't think he's going to take the year off. So I think eventually he's going to end up with us. I just think the Lions are probably being pretty stubborn on how much they're willing to pay, which is fine. It's understandable, based on the future. So I think he will. I think he's going to be back at some point. But okay, so with some of these notes, though, I want to start with this one first. So they told us, like, today, they're like, hey, there was some 2 running back sets. That was one of the things that caught my eye when reading. It's like 2 running back sets. We can't go into detail about how much, that's being, like, exactly what that looks like. So we're thinking, okay, 21 personnel. They're saying 2 running backs. It didn't sound like, hey, there's a fullback leading the way, even though you could consider that 2 backs. Like, that's not what the vibe I got was. So I'm like, okay, let me think back to the Denver Broncos offense. And look, I'll tell you this. If you just watch Denver's explosive runs, a lot of the explosive runs for Denver has 2 backs, or it's Bo Nix scrambling, right? It seems like there's really those 2 things going on. All right, it's either dude scrambling, or you got 2 backs. And I'm watching this, and I'm seeing a lot of 2 backs being utilized. Now, a lot of, again, leads. There's one that's coming up that's pretty exciting here, like this one. Just an outside zone with the lead on top. Have a fullback lead the way, kind of clear it out for him. And this is what got me to thinking a little bit. Let me pull it back. Actually, I can keep it going forward, because you're going to see another one here. We got some split zones that you utilize because of that. We get a little draw here. Again, kind of leading the way from a fullback. And we're trying to figure that out. I was like, I think fullback's going to come back this season. Also here, kind of an RPO look. We did things like this last year. 2 back, split back. You get to an offset. And then you just run the handoff. You had that option if you wanted to flip the bubble out there to the back. You could do that with Monty and Gibbs on paper. That sounds fantastic. But the thing in this week here, offset eye, split zone block, cut back off it. You can see the explosives that Denver created. And this is where John Morton was last season. That's why I throw this in here. Though he's working with the pass game, I thought I'd just throw it in here. Again, same kind of idea here, leading right through. What I thought of, and I really haven't thought of this before, so this made me start thinking. Let me know. Why not Sione Vaki at some fullback reps? Like, if you're going to have a guy lead the way, and I'm thinking about all the potential options, and Zach Horton makes a ton of sense. Luke Deal can make a ton of sense. But, like, the idea of, like, why not let Sione Vaki give it a shot? Because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I think his skill set, like, he would be so comfy leading the way. I think Vaki would clear out a mess. Because today, and this is what got me to thinking, today I was watching Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. He's going to be one of the top picks probably next year. And he's a dog, right? He's a dog. But that's what he does a lot. He does a lot of lead blocking. For a guy that's going to be a top running back, he does a lot of lead blocking. He did a lot of lead blocking for his quarterback, right? A lot of straight power runs for the quarterback, and he'd lead the way. And as I'm watching, I'm like, man, okay, running back, able to clear out. He's not the biggest dude in the world, but he's able to do that, right? He's able to go hit linebackers. He obviously has the vision for it, so he's playing really fast. And I'm like, how valuable could Vaki be in that role? Where it's like, a dude that was a safety that's very willing to hit, right? He's got that toughness to him. You see it on special teams as well. We know he has hands, so if you had to flip it out to him, you're going to be excited because he's going to catch the ball. But he's got some make you miss, and it's downhill, man. It's downhill. He's got a very unique running style. The idea of being able to use Vaki in some of those ways where now it's like, okay, true 2 running backs, right? We can come out in the gun. We could do this stuff in the pass game, but then we could also reduce down. Say we came out split backs. You have Vaki and Gibbs in there, let's just say, right? Then we reduce down, right? So everybody kind of sets in. All of a sudden, we go under center, run an offset eye, and he put Vaki at fullback. And now all of a sudden, I can run a bootleg. Here comes Vaki flying out. I can just flip it out to him. Like, I would way rather do that than throw it to any of our tight ends. Maybe I'd name Sam Laporta. I'd way rather give it to that guy as long as he lead blocks. The more I hear this, the more I'm excited because I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't want Monty doing that. I don't want Gibbs doing that. Craig maybe. But Vaki being able to do that and just be creative with him this year, that sounds like a lot of fun. So that's one of my first things that I thought of when going through this. Of course, Zach Corton's going to be interesting. We heard some good things. Let me see who's in the chat. Make sure I'm not missing anything here. Campbell has his last interception in college against Stroud. That was the last one. He had 3 that year, right? So he had like the 2, like he had like the one weird tip one. One he almost took back to the house, didn't he? What's up, Todd? I see you. Hassanin. Hey, you got to let me know if I'm saying that last name right. How you doing? It's good to see you in here. What up, though? Lions rule, Bears rule. Okay, I see you. What's up, Motown bitch? I can't wait to see Gibbs, Vaki. Yeah, you got to help me on that because I'm getting this pronunciation really, really bad. Like, it's really a problem. So I got to dial that in now. DT fan, man, don't forget the fast person in the NFL, Waymo. I can't wait to see Gibbs, Vaki 2, Sewell, Laporta running the show. David Shaw, Stanford, tunnel screens. What's our weakest position? Arthur Wilson. I said Arthur. Okay, just stop. Just stop. Arthur Wilson's in the chat. I see you. Our weakest position. Man, maybe safety. I feel like backup safety because I don't know really what we have. Like our first backup safety is probably a guy that's not been a full-time safety. So I'd say backup safety. Maybe you could say backup tight end, but I like Brock Wright. Like for what it is, like for what a new number 2 tight end is. Like I rock with that. Usually don't even get the 3 tight ends. So I would say backup safety probably, but that doesn't really count, right? Because I'm saying backup. I don't know. If you want starters, I got to change it up. The Tyleik Williams pick was huge now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, now hey, thank goodness. Thank goodness for that pick. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness for that draft pick. Okay, other things that we took away. Next up, Pat O'Connor doing some defensive end work today. They said he's playing some 4-eye. So playing like a defensive end for us. We know Aleem will do that. Levi would do that. Now he's out. So, you kind of try to figure out what's the next step here. Josh Paschal's missing time. Wingo's missing time. Because of that reason, Pat O'Connor's getting some 4-eye snaps, kicking inside of the tackle, doing work there. And I think that's going to continue. His ability to play up and down the D-line's been there. But last year he was mostly a nose tackle for us. However, if you go back to, say, 2022, and Pat O'Connor didn't play a lot of snaps when he was in Tampa Bay. 2022, he played about 100. I think 97 in total, something like that. 44 of those did take place at an end spot. So he's done it with Casey Rogers specifically. And I do think that that's something that they may have to kind of dial in. He has like the skill set of what a DN would kind of look like. I don't know that he excels there. That's the problem. I don't know that he stands out like he can stand out. He can stand out and make big plays at nose. I don't know that he can do that at DN. That's the problem that I think that presents. But he does have the body type of what a defensive end would be. So I think especially when you think about trying to get to the numbers and who's actually going to make this team, being able to do that would be helpful. The O-line, they kind of gave us the layout there. I don't think there's many surprises except for the backups. So they're like, hey, Tate's playing center. Makes a ton of sense to me. Taking most of the reps. A little bit of Graham mixing in, but it's going to be Tate as of now. I love that. Right now, it's not really, I think, a great time to say, like, oh, man, he's standing out. Like, we got to wait. But as of now, he's kind of the guy they're leaning on. Everywhere else is pretty much who you expect. Mahogany, repping both sides, but left guard, right guard, Glasgow, and leaving him at right guard, at least as of now. We'll see if they try to bounce that, but they could move him, but they're leaving him at right guard as of now. And then both tackle spots, what you'd expect, except for there's no Decker. So they're going to Dan Skipper, who was the next guy up last year as well. I think some of this stuff, too, I don't want to make too much of it because it's training camp just starting. So, like, if Dan Skipper being above Manu, like, I don't want to make too much of that. I don't think that means that much right now. That can change, right? That's what training camp's for. It's what the preseason's for. Right now, you can kind of just go based on where your order was by the time the season ended last year. Like, so Mo Norris with the backup safety reps, like, yeah, he did take a snap last year, so he's above these other guys. So I don't make too much of that, but Dan Skipper did do good things last year. So backup tackle. At left guard, they have Nitain Mutai holding that down, which makes sense. He was doing that with the Raiders last time we saw him. Backup center, Kingsley Egukan, above Michael Neese. That one did stand out a little bit because Michael Neese was active towards the end of last season. And Kingsley Egukan, if he continues to get more snaps early at center, it definitely says a lot about what they saw from practice squad, Kingsley Egukan, because preseason wasn't great. We really didn't see anything outside of that. I think he showed maybe more upside as like, hey, this guy athletically could have a higher ceiling than Michael Neese. And I also think it could speak to a little bit of Michael Neese playing the guard positions and their confidence in that. I think they may view like, hey, he can play guard, but maybe the best spot is center because he can play with angles. He's not really a people mover. So the focus is he's a center. And I think that could be the case here. The flexibility's great. Sounds like a lot of these guys were bouncing around. We'll see if he can add to that. KO'd playing both spots. Tristan Colon playing both spots. Left guard, right guard. And then Jamarco Jones at right tackle. That's fascinating. Jamarco Jones at right tackle. He was left tackle last year. I think for the one game he was the left tackle. And he stuck around in the practice squad. Now it sounds like he's getting reps above Colby Sorstel as our backup right tackle. Now, again, he played a good preseason game. It just looked kind of messy, but it was productive. It was messy from our other backups tackles, too, in fairness. So he did produce. I don't know that I hate putting him right tackle. I mean, maybe that's more comfortable for him, and maybe it looks better than it did at left tackle. But him and Sorstel will battle it out. The Mason Miller one's cool because they're saying he's playing inside and outside. He's also getting snaps at left tackle. He played right tackle for North Dakota State at least that final year. So him getting snaps on the inside, he reminds me of a little bit of what they kind of did with Sorstel. Like, Sorstel wasn't a mauler, but they came in like, let's move him to guard. I could see why you'd want Mason Miller some snaps at guard. He'd be seemingly much more of a zone blocker, right? But I actually could see a world in which you thought the best fit for Mason Miller was at guard and not at tackle. That actually does make some sense after hearing that. I was like, I didn't really think about that, right? Because his body type kind of screams tackle, and he played tackle, but he looks like the kind of guy, especially if you could bulk up a little bit, the way that he kind of mauls, the way he finishes, he can kind of clear out lanes a little bit. Like, I could see wanting him at guard, right? You kind of make it a little bit shorter, get off the ball quickly. I could see why they would stick him in at guard. So that one's going to be interesting to see if he kind of sticks in that role. It's a lot of competition, dude. You got a lot of dudes. In this battle here. But we'll see. So Tristan Colon's definitely going to have to work his way up as we work through this. Outside of that, anything that stood out? I want to make sure I didn't miss anything key here. Hey, the beat's popping, though. Grant Stewart as personal protector. Okay. Somewhat interesting. Yeah, okay. Hey, this beat's popping. I need to calm down. Lock in. I'm not even reading my stuff. Do you think our D-line... I believe that Isaac going to be a problem for other teams. So speaking of Isaac, that was the special teams. No. He and Lovett were repping together as gunners. I think Lovett's going to be a dog gunner. Tesla did it in college. So those guys repping as gunners. Also, before them, Rocky Sin, Amik Robertson. Amik Robertson would be tough as a gunner, I think, too. I think both those guys have that skill. So Meek would be feisty. He probably will never take those snaps in a game, but maybe. I think that's where Lovett could shine. We'll see, but Grant Stewart as the PP there. Do you think our D-line is underrated? We picked up a bunch of guys last year with experience. So, Roy Lopez. Speaking of Tyleek being so important, him getting first-team reps today, it sounds like most of them makes sense with DJ Reader. Yeah, it's a really good thing that we brought in Roy Lopez. He's going to be super valuable. Roy Lopez is a good player. Like, I'm going to stand with it. Now, I don't want to say I was right on Davenport because I would say I was wrong. I thought Davenport was going to earn an extension, but then he got hurt. But he technically did get extended. I have a similar feeling with Roy Lopez. Now, I don't think Roy's going to become a starter. He may have to start a few games, but I think that he's going to have Roy's going to have a very consistent year, and he's going to be a plus player a lot of times. Maybe he has some bumps early, but like last year was kind of, think about it. Last year, our Roy Lopez was Kyle Pecco. Dude's still a free agent, right? So I think that Roy Lopez is a very big upgrade at that role. I think he's going to earn an extension with us here, a multi-year deal, as just a rotational interior piece. But that being said, dude could start. Like, you could start him with DJ. You could start him with Tyleek. So that works. That gives you a nice three-man rotation, at least on the interior in the meantime. I think that's three guys that you trust. At very worst, if Tyleek was horrible, which I don't think it would be, you would trust Roy Lopez that could start in there. You could get away with that. You could get away with DJ Reader and Roy Lopez as your starting interior. It wouldn't be the best in the league, but you could definitely make that work. You could have it a lot worse off than those two starting with each other. You also said Muhammad, Pecco. So yeah, Pecco's gone. Pat O'Connor, Wingo. So yeah, Wingo hopefully is back relatively soon. Pat O'Connor's gonna be interesting. One, does he make the team? Two, what spot does he specifically specialize in? Like, where does he carve out his role on the team? Muhammad, yes, I like Muhammad a lot. And they got him on a really, really cheap contract, but he fit us really well this last season. Muhammad, we may have to call on him very soon. My big thing with Muhammad is he got better through the year. That's the big thing. Like, it wasn't like a flash game. It's like, oh man, I remember that one game he cooked. Like, he just got better as the season went on. Williams and Hassanin. Okay, I said it right. I always, if it's hard to pronounce, I cut off the name to two half. So Hassanin. But you said it right. Thank you for trying. I'm Amin Hassanin's father. See, I'm reading it pretty good now. Watching broadcast from Egypt. That's what's up. I appreciate you being here. I'm glad I read that right. I'm gonna dial that in because it's a great name. By the way, we're thinking of getting college jerseys again, right? We're talking about getting college jerseys, and it's hard to not go with that one. Like a Boise State jersey would be tough. The colors are amazing. Like that would be a tough jersey. I'm considering it's on the table. But yeah, no. Look, I think to your question, is it underrated? It could be underrated in the sense that people don't really know anything about most of the guys that you just mentioned. Like most people don't know anything about Roy Lopez. Nobody really. I would say most fan bases don't know who Al-Quadri Muhammad is unless you had him before he came here. Kyle Petco, again, yeah, free agent, but Pat O'Connor, he's kind of our guy, right? Like he broke out with us, if you want to call it a breakout. He played more than 2 times the amount of snaps last year than he did anywhere else. And I would say the only teams that know about him is us in Green Bay, because Green Bay had to deal with that. That's why they know. But I like the depth, man. I like him. I think you got to throw Miles Adams in that. So yeah, take out Petco, throw Miles Adams in there. I do believe. Okay, I'm really hoping they sign Z. Would you rather add DeMarcus Walker or Z? I would add Za'Darius. I think Za'Darius is a better rusher. I think I could put Za'Darius out there one-on-one and have a much higher hit rate of him just being able to win. Now, DeMarcus would fit really well. I think he'd fit stylistically. You could argue he could be a better run defender. I think that's on the table. He's definitely built a little bit better for that. But he's not like an elite run defender to the point where he's so twitchy that I'm like, oh, man, but you're getting that. Like, I don't think it's that level. So if it was just like, hey, one or the other, similar price points, I'm definitely taking Za'Darius. I would take either, but I would definitely take Za'Darius. Za'Darius can go win. He can just go get it done on his own. I hope your son develops into a star. I hope so. Brad better draft my guys next time. Your guys. Let's hope Marcus stays healthy and hopefully signs Z back. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss any other notes here. Let me keep going. The notes from the Lions. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything with this. So, yeah, we talked about the rake straw thing. Had a little chest. The chest was banged up. Oh, they actually showed the Tim Patrick play already. Ian Kennedy apparently had a big pass breakup today as well. So the backup safety position, that's going to be one to follow. They're saying that right now it's Avonte Maddox. As expected, at least for me, it was kind of, that's what I thought it would be, and Mo Norris. Now, I think those two actually complement each other really well. I think Lawrence Strickland and Avonte Maddox would bring similar skill sets to the table. I think those two actually complement each other well. So I think, one, it's where they left off last year. He kind of worked his way into clearly building some trust, and then Strickland obviously was down. But also, I think those two complement each other pretty well. Like, one can really be versatile. It sounds like they're trying to tap into that with Mo Norris, see if they can find it. He thinks he's going to get some nickel reps as well, play both safety spots. You have to have flexibility back there. That's the number one thing. They brought that up. But I think they do complement each other well. But they're saying when, hey, Avonte will kick down into the nickel, which he's done a lot in the past, and then Lawrence Strickland and Mo Norris are holding that down as of now. I think that one's wide open. I really think it's wide open. While that's what it looks like right now, I think that thing is wide open. Linebacker set. So we talked about Jack Campbell looking a little bit lighter to me. I love the idea of Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes being on the field together. I think it's going to work. I think in 2-backer sets. Now, again, we did a lot of 3-backer early last year. But when you do go nickel package and you're in 2-backer sets and you're going Jack and Derek, I actually think they do complement each other pretty well. Like, I think in the past, if this was year one, I'd be like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I trust Derek Barnes to make this work in coverage. You know, Jack, I don't know how these two. I actually think it does work right now. I don't want Derek Barnes like in every matchup. Like, I would trust Alex a lot more, of course, but I do trust him in especially like a lot of the underneath things. He runs almost as well, if not better, than any of our linebackers in a straight line. So a lot of those less complex routes he can handle pretty well. He's a great closer. He's a great tackler in space too. So he does have that, like take away flats, those kind of things. As long as he's aggressive and he's quick to get to his spots in zone, specifically like Alex, what he did so well in underneath zone is he would just squeeze and take away routes. I mean, it was instant. You'd feel it. He'd step down, take it away, and he just wouldn't give any airspace. If he's that in zone coverage and he's playing fast there, athletically, I actually love those two being together. He's done a lot of deep zone work for us already. Some of the Tampa 2 stuff that he kind of broke in to our defense with. So I don't dislike that at all. But they're saying Zach Cunningham is kind of the third backer. So when they do go to the traditional outlook in their base defense, and you're putting Derek Barnes back on the ball at Sam, now all of a sudden you put Zach Cunningham in with Jack Campbell, and that is another group that works well together. Now, I thought Zach was better in zone than in man, so that still has a little bit to be proven to me. But Zach is very flexible. Like, Zach, you could play either inside backer position, right? Mike Will, that kind of thing. You could also, I think, put him on the ball and he could find success. He'd give you a little bit of juice as a pass rusher. He might be one of our better rushing linebackers. Athletically, he connects all the boxes there. Zach, I think, at his best would be with Jack. But again, I think he's got the versatility, and they're even saying that like he now has been able to play next to Grant Stewart, which speaks to that because you don't want Stewart getting connected at the second level. But you have a skill set there in Zach Cunningham that I think is a little bit more unique than what we had last year. We were trying to rotate and find backers, David Long, and we're bringing in Zeke Turner. A guy that can stack and shed a little bit more consistently with a little more stoutness is Zach Cunningham. So I do think that he just fits a little bit better for a guy like Grant Stewart, that it's not where you want him to live. And then, of course, Trevor Nowatzki seemingly is holding it down as a backup to Derek Barnes, which is great because I think that gives him a really good chance to make this team. It tells me that they've also kind of see the vision the same way as like, hey, yo, this is the future path for him, right? We can see the future outlook for what this guy is. Boom is in the building. I see you. What's up, Boom? We got some great camp footage. Okay, I'm going to pull that up. Is it copyright? Hold up. Hey, they've been on me. I got to be careful. And it's Rakestraw Jr., left practice chest injury, chest contusion. So, yes, shout out to Rakestraw. I'm good, chill. What is this a picture of, though, Rakestraw? What are we looking at here? It's got to be like his car ceiling. That's what I thought it was. But now that I'm looking at it again, I don't know what this is supposed to be. Like, it kind of looks like the back of like a laptop, sort of. I don't know what we're taking a picture of here, dog. I'm going to be straight up. Straight up. I don't know what that is. Okay, we're going to try to pull up that camp footage, though. Do we think Ennis can be ready for the Hall of Fame game? Yes. Yeah. We got 11 days. If it's a contusion, I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. Now, maybe not like practicing tomorrow. Speaking of that, it sounds like Pittman is going to be practicing tomorrow. That's the expectation, is that he's going to be back and practicing. They didn't have Alex today, so we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that one. We'll find out, I guess. But in the meantime, it would be great to see Zach Cunningham. He might be one of those dudes that could cook in the preseason, straight up. Zach Cunningham could have a really rough preseason, but he could also have a very strong preseason. That's what excites me. He could have a very strong preseason. He could look really good. He could stand out. He could separate himself really well. Because if Zach Cunningham legitimately is a starter and he's out there in the preseason, which he will be, he should separate himself a little bit, right? Like, he should look a little bit different. He's capable of doing that. I'm excited to see Zach Cunningham. We did a thing on him when we signed him. I'm excited to see what that looks like. Okay, I think we hit on pretty much everything here. I think we hit on everything. Okay, Zach Horton. Sounds like he's moving around. He might be playing fullback for us too. He might get that role. I'm just telling you, Sione Vaki, we should keep an eye on it. I would say he'd be ready though. Okay, I should stay to make the chat move, Dose. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, the chat on the screen, it's a weird placement. Like, actually, I wonder if I can move it. I cannot. Okay, great. Hey, it looks cool though. That's why I put it up there. Ennis the Menace. Okay, that's good. I actually haven't heard that yet, so I'm actually good with that one. I actually agree with this. I think we're gonna have a fantastic secondary. So someone asked what the weakest position group is. I would make a case, if we're talking as a group, this is the strongest position group. Receivers got a case, right? Because they've proven it, and it sounds like St. Brown was giving DJ Reed some trouble today. They got a case, but I would argue the upside. Give me the DBs. Give me the DB room. I think that's going to be tough, especially if you told me they were just healthy. Like, give me one game, healthy groups. You pick one. Give me that room. I think that's going to be a problem this year. I think that's going to be a real problem this year, as those dudes put together. I think we hit on everything, though. That was good. We'll just see what the chat's talking about. We'll leave it there. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything over here. Sam Laporta doing his thing, it sounds like. Big reception from Goff. He'll be interesting to watch and see where his production goes. It sounds like he's optimistic his production is going to be there. we did see the PFF stats where tight ends production hasn't typically been there. But then again, we asked ourselves, like, okay, but did they have a Sam Laporta? It'll be interesting. That number's kind of stuck in my head to see that they have been lower with the John Moran offense, because I do think they're going to be very aggressive. But if he is being smart in terms of playing to his quarterback strengths, like you're going to have him very involved, because too much of what Goff does is within 15 yards over the middle of the field. So you have to have Sam Laporta significantly involved in that, because he's going to be living there. But also, I would like to see more Sam Laporta involved in catch and run opportunities. So I would like to see maybe we dial that in a little bit more this year. That'd be cool if we had more designs for that, like just a little more of an emphasis on it. That would be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see how John Moran and Shep Call plays. Any news from Tesla? Vanillatron. I didn't hear anything from Isaac Tesla, if I'm being honest. I didn't hear any takeaways from him. Let me pull up what this dude said. He said, wait, what was it? WNJS? WLNS. Okay, hold on. I think I saw this on YouTube. They dropped like an 8-minute video, right? That's right. Let's see what it's talking about. Maybe there's something here that I didn't see. This better not be copyright now. All right. Okay, here we go. We're gonna pull this up. If this gets copyrighted, I'm clipping this out, making this to a video. I'm just letting y'all know now. I think we're good though. This looks like the same clips from the beginning of the X post. It just looks like a wider view of it. Hutch got that sleeve on. Just that what? That compression sleeve, right? Holding it tight, which is great. The fact that he's not wearing a brace is pretty wild to me. Surprised to see Cologne repping third. That was a little bit surprising. Oh, I just lost my notes. I was gonna say something about that. He said repping third and not as a center. So the thing that is interesting to me there, one, the backup center having Kingsley work there does make sense. Like if you want to see what understandably putting Kingsley at center or not Tristan does make sense to me, because I don't think Kingsley really has much flexibility. I don't think there's going to be many examples where you see Kingsley repping at guard. Like I don't think that's going to happen much. Same, and again with Michael Neese, seeing now that he's kind of working like third string center, I don't know how much they actually trust his ability to play guard, and like, hey, we have a lot of upside here. So early on, that's kind of my thought. We'll see how that shakes out. Could be off on that. I think it says a little bit about those two, and just specifically, like, we don't really see a path here of them playing, either of them really playing guard. Neese has done it. He's capable of doing it, but I think they view the best spot for him is going to be center. Cologne, though, yeah, like, Cologne can hold it down at center. He held it down at center, though, in the preseason. So when he was with Arizona, he started at center through the preseason, but in the regular season, he typically has held it down at guard, and he's been able to play both guard spots. So, and based on where they're at, like competition-wise, I mean, his competition is KO'd, who lost his role to our starter Mahogany last year. Nitain Mutai, who hasn't played in essentially 2 years. That's his backup guard comp. And then Miles Frazier. Which, by the way, they didn't list Miles Frazier, so I would assume that he's repping with second team, but maybe he's just rotating with first team. I think Tristan Cologne's going to make the team. I think he's going to make the team. But yeah, him starting at the bottom, and he's definitely going to have to earn it. He's definitely not having it given to him. Hutch, 18 sacks, Lockett. Oh, snap. Yo, if Hutch gets 18 sacks off a broken leg, I saw the Comeback Player of the Year award. Didn't Burrow win it last year, which felt like, was it Burrow? I can't remember. I think Burrow won it last year. If you get 18 sacks, not only you might win Defense Player of the Year, he might win 2 awards. He might just go win 2 awards. Didn't miss that Mutai love. Hey, we got to give Nitain Mutai some love, man. Because here's the thing, when it comes to that backup guard battle, one thing that those guys all do have in common, including Miles Frazier, all 4 of those guys are people movers. Michael Neese isn't going to move guys around. Kingsley, I think, plays with the toughness, but I don't think he's going to move people around like you would think of what you would want for a guard. KO's always been a people mover. He's been able to play gap scheme. He can seal blocks. He's always been able to do that, kind of turn guys around. Nitin Mutai is absolutely that. He's incredibly strong in the upper body. So you got two dudes that can move people. Frazier was in college kind of that. And then Tristan Colon is that too. Your two centers, though, that's not really their thing. Like that, they're more positional blockers, in my opinion, right? They're gonna hit spots and hit angles well. So I'm glad you said that, because now that you start to look at, you can maybe get an idea of why those guys are repping at guard, because that's more of their skill set. All right, we're rocking this beat though. Haven't visited the channel in a while. What's up, Dan? Wavy, I see you. Okay, you got some costumes going on. I appreciate you joining, man. It's good to see you. Man, we're just getting ready for football, I guess. Like, we're right here. Training camp's getting rolling. What are we doing? Actually, I haven't seen this video yet, so okay. Wait, can we run that back? Let's run that back. Yeah, this is like that warm up. You see that bend, that knee bending, I guess. Yeah. No, that's wild. That's wild. That's wild to watch. I think Hutchinson's next contract will be solid, like 5-year, 170. Good. Bro, that's crazy though. It's crazy because TJ got 40, which we talked about, which is still nuts. He got 40 a year, more than 40 a year. We'll see where it goes after the injury, like how that affects his contract. I don't think it'll affect it too much, but it could a little bit. But that's a quarterback contract, bro. 5 years, $170 million. That's not even enough, I would think, but like, he's gonna get a quarterback contract straight up. Hearing that actually out loud, I would love that. 5 years, $170 million would be great, because that's like 34 a year, 33, 34 a year. Oh, I mean, I'm on board. I'm on board for that. I like that. I'm on board for that. But like, dude, TJ Watt basically got a quarterback contract. He's making more than Aaron Rodgers by a mile. That's what these are turning into, man. You're basically paying two quarterbacks at that point. It's crazy. So yeah, hopefully that actually is the case. Seeing the 170 threw me off, but yeah, doing the math on that, it actually is not bad. That's not bad. It's just a crazy number. You're not used to seeing that unless you're talking about a quarterback. But yeah, no, that's what the cap has gone to. Bear down. I see you, MP. That's the kids in costumes. I like the Mario one. I rock with the Mario costumes tough. Nice seeing Tate out there jumping in that 69 jersey with the mullet flowing. I had to wait for Tate and it quick. Absolutely. I'm glad this isn't something that we had to like talk about during training camp. Like I didn't want to talk about this. I'm just glad it's done. Look at the baggy shorts for St. Brown though. Okay. They got a lot of footage here, man. They just like recorded the entire beginning of practice until they started going to team drills, it feels like. That's when they're like, oh, you can record this. All right, bet we're gonna record the entire thing. That's what they did. The quarterback neutralizer, getting quarterback money seems fair to me. Hey, I'm with you, bro. That dude's ridiculous, man. He also, I think he's a culture changer. I also think like he's gonna get better every year. Like we'll see on this year because he is coming off such a significant injury. But like after this year, he's gonna continue to get better. Like that dude is just, I think, straight upward trajectory. Oh man, hold up. They're hitting with ads. My bad. I should have saw that coming. What up, Motor City Cats? Did Alex participate? So Alex did not participate today. He was there though. We were told that he was there. He just wasn't practicing. Maybe we'll see him in one of these clips. I kind of doubt it, but like maybe, I don't know. Is he lifting? Like what do they do, right? If you're there, are you just like in the like? I think usually they stand to the side, but like I feel like I never see him. Yeah, JMO looks crazy. Hold up, run that back. Run that back. Everybody's got the baggy shorts on. Oh, that's because they're the knee pads without the knee pads in it. My bad. See, that's... I think he's wearing his... Is that what he's wearing? I think it's what he's wearing. Watching J-Mo run it's so weird. He's so lanky, bro. You think Tate gonna start a center or Glasgow? Well, I'm hungry. No, I think Tate's gonna center. I think Tate's the center. You think Tate's gonna start a center or it's Glasgow? Yeah, no, I definitely think Tate's the center, and I think Mahogany's gonna start too. I think the role that is there legitimately for the taking is going to be Glasgow's. I don't think it's going to happen. I honestly think we know the starting 5 right now. I don't think we're going to see any changes by the time first week. Like I think it's going to be exactly what we expected. Tate, Glasgow, Mahogany, Decker, Sewell. That said, though, if there is one that shakes up, it could be Mahogany. I think it would be Glasgow. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be what we all kind of expect right now. It could be Glasgow losing the job and Miles Frazier starting. Like that's what I think is most on the table. Most likely on the table. Okay? So I heard Kyle Allen was getting some second team reps today. Which, not make too much of that. I guess more so about the performance than anything. I know it reads crazy, but I still got Tate, the guy who never played center in college, is going to start week 1 at Green Bay. I can't wait. No, I mean, you know what? I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy. One, because, and I know it's like different starting versus backup, right? You bring a guy in for something, and you're like, hey, we're going to put him at this. But like we've seen it, right? Colby Sorso came in immediately, and he was like, he's a guard. And maybe he's not a guard. Like now looking at him, he's like, okay, maybe he is actually his tackle. But, they did it. They brought him in, like, he's a guard. So like we've seen, the immediate transitions. Sewell came in immediately, was like right tackle. Questions about it, he's right tackle. And he's like, well, he did in high school. Tate's skill set just screams center. It just screams center. What are your thoughts on tight end 3? I think it's possible we don't keep 3 tight ends. That's if I had to, that's kind of where I think is what it could be. I think it's possible we only keep 2 tight ends. That's kind of my thoughts on it. Right now, I think the nod is Kenny Yeboah slightly. Honestly, it could be Shane Zylstra. It's kind of those two. I think it's maybe one of the most open battles on the team. If we did keep 3, that any of those dudes could take that spot. Any of them. I think one of the UDFAs could jump in there. I think Horton's in play. I think Luke Deal's in play. Horton makes sense because of the flexibility, but I think they both kind of bring that. Let's see, what are we dialing in here? Yo, it's crazy how fast this turnaround is going to be too. They're really playing in 10 days. In 10 days, they're playing a game. Like, you got to get these plays dialed in 10 days to just be able to run an offense. It's kind of crazy though. To get that going that fast is nuts. What do we even say about St. Brown, dude? The shit just cooks all the time. Everything's so smooth. How many receivers do you think? I think we keep 6. It's make or break year for Broderick. It's make or break, but it's I guess the question is, like, does he make the team from that perspective? Because I don't know. Like, I think Roy's the backup nose. So could he get himself to a spot where he played well enough where it's like, actually, you're the backup nose, Roy's kind of the backup 3, and you're like the 4th DT. But again, Broderick's only in year 3, so it does add a little bit of optimism. I think Broderick's on the table of making the team. I'm not counting Broderick out yet. I think it's on the table. He makes the team. I think it's very possible he makes the team. We've talked about this. I think he's got a much better shot than Colby does at making the team. So I'm not counting him out yet. He could. Broderick's just different than Levi, of course, like much different. So it would have to be one of these things where it's like he's so good at what he does that you are just going to earn like your backup nose tackle. So because of that, now Roy's flexibility is valuable because, like, hey, we can have Roy play off of him, and then we can do the same thing with Miles. Because Broderick Martin being, I think, a nose is still a true nose tackle is actually still valuable for this team. I still think it is because we don't really have a ton of that. Like, if you think about it, we have Tyleek, who played a 3 but could be a nose. That could be where teams view him in the future, but it'll probably be more of a 3 this year. And then you have DJ Reader, who is. Beyond that, you have Roy Lopez, and that's kind of it. Chris Smith. Like, that's really your backup noses, unless, you start saying, okay, well, we'll kind of push Pat O'Connor there like he kind of was last year. Like, so there's not, there's a space to carve a role. Just at some point, it's got to happen. At some point, it's just got to be consistent. It's just got to be like play after play, just more consistency, play after play, and I think he'll be all right. Yo, is this Baker Mayfield? 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 Yo, is this Okay, maybe not. Because I thought, kind of looks like we're looking at Baker and Kellen Moore straight up, like a little bit. A little bit. That's a little bit what this is looking like. Kellen Moore and Baker Mayfield just showed up to help us out. And we appreciate that. It's almost 11. Yeah, it's almost 11 here too. That was kind of the aim. We can go about an hour. We can get out of here. Thought Tate took all first team. Yeah, I think he took pretty much all first team. I've heard, there was some Graham in there, but I think he was pretty much the guy for that role. I think we'll be fine on the interior by the end of the year, but we're going to put. But wait, I can't read. Okay, restart. I think we'll be fine on the interior by the end of the year. But they are really going to be put to the test. Yeah, Carter, Dexter, Bucks D-line, Rams D-line, Steelers D-line. Yeah, we got a rough schedule this year. I mean, shoot, you're going to be put to the test week 1, to be honest with you. Kenny Clark. We'll see what happens with Devontae Wyatt, right? But Kenny Clark specifically. TJ Slayton was solid last season. Really, and then dealing with getting up to that next level. Edgerrin Cooper was all over the place. How are you going to deal with Edgerrin Cooper? We are not as deep at DL than you think. We are not as deep at DL. Okay, hold on. Let me just restart. Yeah, at some point, I just need to restart. Take a step back. Try again. All right, we're about done with this video, so I want to let this thing finish. Make sure I don't miss anything really cool here. Watching St. Cook, that's cool. Like, I rock with that. We can just see all those. All right, let me go back to the comments. If I won't be surprised if they make Tyreek into a William type. Well, I mean, he from the sense of like being able to play both spots. If we're just looking at that, that's what he is, right? Because he's built as a nose tackle that played nose tackle reps at Ohio State, but majority played outside of the guard. So stylistically, that's what Aleem McNeil is, right? Because he just did it the backward path. Like he came in as you're the only true nose tackle on the board. He was a nose tackle, was athletic enough to give us some juice. We needed some juice because Levi, if you remember, was never really available due to injury. So you were able to kick him out, and like you need a guy that can go. Like you need a guy that can go win. That's super valuable. Those guys get paid a lot more than nose tackles because you need a guy that can go win. So you try to find that matchup that can get one-on-one with a guard. And Aleem McNeil had so much juice that you just did that, and then ultimately he was like, I'm gonna shed a little bit of weight, get a little quicker, and it was like, okay, that's you. Tyreek just did that at a bigger body size. Now, I didn't think he was overly shifty or this elite rusher in college. Like, to me, he wasn't that. Like, he was definitely not that in Ohio State as last year. He was a plus, slightly above average, I had him as. He wasn't that, though, at Ohio State. But, especially if he was like, hey, I'm going to trim down a little bit. I'm going to, like, now there's something there. But even to that, like, I think the view for a lot of teams could have been, we see what he is. That at nose tackle could be really exciting. Like if he plays fast, because I didn't think he always played that fast in college. Thought sometimes he'd fall behind a little bit. He'd get caught in some, trailing spots. But you wonder about some of the range stuff. And you're like, but if we put him at nose, he could really take a step. Like we get him at nose, we get the best out of that player eventually, and that's where he could shine. But because of where the Lions are at health-wise, that's not really an option. It's kind of like, yeah, let's not even mess with that. You would assume that's not going to be you, bro. You're just going to do what you did at Ohio State, and we'll just lean into that. It's like, all right, cool. You just do what you did there. But eventually down the road, he could still take a transition, just like Aleem did, of, hey, DJ Reader's gone, right? You're on the last year of his deal. He could be gone after this year. Unless he's awesome, gets an extension, he could be gone after this year. So now all of a sudden, it's like, well, let's try to push you back in because now Aleem's back. And to make sure we get the best out of Aleem, we don't want Aleem living as a one technique or a 2-eye. It's like we would rather have that be Tyreek Williams. So then that transition could start to kind of take place to just make sure that those two play off each other. Aleem could do both, but just to make sure that you get the best out of both. Okay, got some passes here. It's always weird watching Goff follow through. That always sticks out to me. Like his hand doesn't roll. It feels like. See how that's like? It's weird. I don't know. It's always weird to look at. Okay. His wrist doesn't like flick down. It's kind of just like I don't know. It's weird. But anyways, okay, that's the clips. Shout out to the clips there. Those were good. They're probably going to copyright me, so shout out to that news station. We appreciate it. Hopefully not, though. Reposted this stream. On X? Oh, yeah, you are on X. Sorry, I appreciate you, man. Hey, some of y'all repost like everything. Shout out to my man, Crazy Clown. I actually don't know how to say your name. TZGILI. T.S. Gilly. T.S. Gilly? I appreciate it, man. Y'all always be showing love on the X post. Both the run game and run defense are key early. Waymo could have a day week 1. Packers corners are fraudulent. Waymo finally he's a first round receiver week 1. Yeah, they got some dudes that they like, and they're just leaning on them now. With I mean, look, and I respect it. I do respect what they did. They're like, look, man, we had this guy in Jair who was never available, and instead of just continuing to run it back, be like, well, maybe we're just gonna let the dudes that we like roll. Keyshawn Nixon can play, so we can put him on the outside. If we can get Bullard in the slot, that's a good corner room. That like those two together are good. What are we going to offset? That Valentine? Like, Valentine's done nice things for them. And it's just like now they're fully invested in that's going to have to be the unit that takes off. I think it is Valentine who's their top opposite corner right now. That would be my biggest question for him is how does that work? Oh, Nate Hobbs is there now. So, they rock Nate Hobbs on the outside and leave him on the outside. That's kind of the prove-it position for me. Waymo, 150 to 1 odds. Put 10 on it. You put 10 on that? 150 to 1 to win Offensive Player of the Year. I'm not mad at that. That feels like value. Now, I'm not going to give betting advice because I'm awful at it. Like, awful. It's like fantasy. I'm horrible at it. But that feels like value. So does our first team O-line, second team D-line. We'll see lots of actions except the bets. I would think so. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I was thinking like in training camp terms, like, yeah, I guess we do see those two kind of face each other a lot of times. It's not always one-on-one. It's kind of the 1 versus the 2. So you get those things flipping around. But I would assume so. Yeah, like the second defensive line. Honestly, some of the first, right? Because you're going to see Roy. You're going to see Tyleek, I would assume. Maybe not a lot of Tyleek. Maybe not a ton of Roy, but I'd assume you see a little bit of both. Definitely no Hutch. But you can see some Davenport. Take that back. No, you won't. Take that back. No, you will not. You will not see Davenport. Take that back. Especially week 1. At some point, no. Take that back. I promise you, Green Bay tries to use Savion in some passing packages. Savion, the receiver? They should. They definitely should. I mean, they drafted him. I would use him on a lot of handoffs. Like, Green Bay is so good at getting the receivers in the run game, and that, to me, that's such a handful to deal with. And it makes him unique. Like, when Malik Willis went down, the amount of usage they had with their receivers in the pass game was such a handful to deal with. I would use Savion in that way a ton, like all the time. All the time. I'd be like, how do we get this guy the football? Give him the football. I would do that all the time. Dude's 220 pounds. I would make teams tackle him. Because if you're going to do it anyways, why not do it with that guy? And especially because you drafted Matthew Golden, you don't really need to lean on him for it to be the separator. Tyleek is the next Curly Culp. Okay, I don't know who that is. I'm going to be honest with you. That sounds like a fictional character. That could be a dog, though. And if it is, I apologize. I apologize to that man for cooking. I had no idea. What up, Dose? I think we need to see Isaiah Smith. All right. I feel like, Scott, you and my guy, Detroit Sports Talk, may have came in with the same plan. Y'all definitely did, for sure. Hey, Dose, can I get a ride to training camp? Look, man, if you got tickets, we're going. You got tickets, I got you. I'll scoop you up. I got a long way anyway, so we're there. If you got the tickets, we're there. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, for most of the time, I'm going to be driving you there and standing outside. Unfortunately. I'll be there day 1, though. I'll be there. Well, not the loyal member day, but I'll be there 28th. Hopefully we can get to see Tyleek versus Ratledge. We definitely should get that. We definitely should get some of those. They need to. That's a win-win situation. You know what I mean? They could definitely just show that, and whoever wins, people are going to be hyped. Like, yo, Tyleek's a problem. Or Ratledge, I knew that dude was a dog. Like, yo, you can't lose. You actually can't lose with that. Lions take advantage of that. You can't lose. Curly Culp was a Hall of Famer for Kansas City as a D lineman. Are you serious? Yeah, I've never heard it, dude. Curly Culp. That sounds like a made-up name, though, in fairness. Curly Culp. Oh, my goodness. Come on, bro. No. Come on, dog. Who said this? Time out. Who said he could be the next Curly Culp? Nah, someone needs to... Who said that? Tyleek's the next Curly Culp. Zach? This dude played in the 70s, bro. He did play for the Lions for 2 years. 1980 and 1981. Dude played 5 games as a Lion. With they weren't even tracking tackles back then. They did not have tackles listed. They had sacks. He had 0. All right, Zach. I know. Nah, because I know Zach. The only reason Zach knows this dude, I know, is from Madden, bro. This dude definitely got this dude on Ultimate Team, and he went crazy. That's the only explanation for this. At 6'2", 260 pounds, bro was the best nose tackle of all time. Come on, man. Bro said, wait. He said he's the next Tyleik Williams. He is 260 pounds. Bro really weighed was 70 pounds later playing nose tackle. Okay. No, I do like it, though, because that's good. We got to be well-versed in our eras. So I actually appreciate that you brought that up. Appreciate that. This is good. We need to learn. He said, low-key, we got to stop comparing eras. Nah, bro. Look, there's a rule, okay? Unless you're Jelani Tavai. Tavai falls into this category, unfortunately, as well. If I can't pull your highlights, you don't count. You don't count. Curly Culp actually probably does have highlights, though. Now I'm thinking about it. Hold up. Let me pull some Curly Culp footage. The first picture that came up is crazy. I thought that was a track picture. No. Yeah, no, dude. No. If this is, yeah. Okay. I just got to stop going down that rabbit hole. I want to see Ahmed and Giovanni Manu at camp. We should get some of that. Because he can back up Hutch. So yeah, we should get a lot of that actually at left tackle. We should get a lot of that. Him playing right end. We should get a lot of that work. Dan Skipper. That's gonna be a handful for Dan Skipper. Oh boy, I'm excited to see that too. That would be a handful. Because he's just so powerful and Skipper's so tall. Do you like Ian Kennelly? I don't know. I like him. He's a Lion. I don't really know. I don't know what to expect from Ian Kennelly. Sounds like he made a great play today, some exciting play. I just hope he can make a lot of those happen in these in training camp, right? Because of his skill set. So I'm more so just open-minded. I don't want to set any expectations to be disappointed or oh man, that's what I thought he'd do. I have no clue what this dude is going to do. Dan Skipper is more than half foot taller than Ahmed. See, that's going to be a lot to deal with. What did I got on the screen? Okay, I got that on the screen still. But we doing Inside the Den the 30th? Or we doing a watch party? Yo, do we know when it drops? I did see the post up. I think it was Tyleik holding a paper that said the 30th. What day of the week is that? Let me see. Because we might be able to. A Wednesday. Depending on the time that drops, we might be able to. We'll just have to figure out how we can do it so it's not copyright. I hope it's draft. I'm assuming it's not draft related, but could they not just maybe this is what they did in the last one though, show us the coordinators and stuff. I want it to be draft, but I don't know what they're gonna do. I want to see Meeks, No Shot, and Kennelly. Jackson Meeks and Kennelly. See those two go at it. Skipper is more than half a foot taller. Skipper is 6'11". Yeah, Skipper's built different. He just did an autograph signing. I don't think Banks got it, but I think he was there. And I would love to see, because I've seen Dan Skipper in person, right, at camp. But I would love to stand on the same level. You know what I'm saying? We're both on the field, and I'm looking at him. I just want to see what that looks like. That's crazy. To see a person that's legitimately a foot taller than you is wild. Brad trolled a draft episode. He trolled one? So we're not getting one? Brad, we need one though, bro. He knows we need one, man. Come on now. There was a Aaron Donald before Aaron Donald. There was no Aaron Donald before Aaron Donald. Oh, I see what you did there. So you're saying there's no Tyleek before Tyleek? Is that what we're doing? This is true. This is true. Unless you're saying that was Culp put on about 15 pounds and he's Aaron Donald. Dan Skipper had the best Madden highlight video ever. Dan Skipper has the best Madden highlight video ever. I have no idea what that is. I don't know what that looks like. I'd love to see it. I don't know what that is. I see a lot of Dan Skipper highlights on YouTube. A lot of him catching the passes, and they throw in the play where he was kind of trying to get open. Skipper's amazing. Skipper's amazing. I know for a fact the fan base are going to go crazy if Sewell loses one rep against Ahmed. 100%. 100%. But, what do I want to say with that? Like, training camp's different because training camp is, I feel like you don't want to get like too far with just certain plays because I think there's a lot at camp that does get missed. I would say the O-line, D-line battles are probably the worst at training camp in terms of takeaways a lot of the times. Because I don't think anybody literally has any idea who's actually doing well most of the time. Just because a lot of the takeaways are like, I caught this one guy making a play. Or, hey, this one time this guy had a sack. And it's like, okay, but do we actually see how it played out? Like, maybe not. Those tend to be really rough, I think. I think the takeaways typically are pretty awful. So, we'll see. Preseason, though, gives us a lot of good insight. There's no doubt. Because we get a lot of snaps in a row. These dudes get a ton of reps, specifically offensive linemen. And then you can compare them from game to game. Oh, that's where you learn it all. Lions released a Skipper highlight video where he played every position with a 99 rating. 7 minutes of Dan Skipper Madden highlights. Oh, my goodness. How did I miss that? How did I miss that? Wait, hold up. Before we keep it moving, I got to find out what that is. Yo, I did not see that. Okay, I must have just missed it. I did not see that. See, maybe 10% at camp. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Alex just reposted this stream. Oh, you didn't type that. Someone just reposted it and it made it a comment. That's what that is. I thought somebody came in and said they reposted it. I was like, oh, yo, shout out to you for that. Wait, if I do it, what happens? We're about to test this theory live. I think that's what's happening. Is they're reposting it and YouTube is just commenting that for them. Let's find out. Because I just did it. Maybe not. Maybe they did comment that. Because my thing is not popping up. After the first day of camp, who are the top 5 Lions now? Okay. The top 5 Lions after the first day of camp. St. Brown, still cooking. DJ Reed apparently can't cover him, so he's number 1. Dude's amazing. Jared Goff. I heard no bad things, only good things, only shot plays. Jared Goff. Penei Sewell, because he's participating, and that's fabulous. Penei Sewell. By the way, I just thought of this. If Aiden Hutchinson is taking his reps a majority of the time against Manu and Skipper, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a really big problem. Like, ideally, he'd get a lot of reps against Sewell. And they're probably going to give him a lot of reps against Sewell just because. So just put him against Sewell at right tackle. Which, okay, no, he should. He should. He should get most of his reps against Sewell. Who is going to be it's going to be Davenport. Davenport is going to get work against our backup left tackle. Oh, he should cook. I was thinking that'd be Hutchinson. No, take that back. That's going to be Davenport. Davenport should cook. He should go crazy. Sewell should continue to work against Hutch. That matchup should continue to happen. We're going to get great matchups there. Flip side is, though, those two, Davenport should go crazy. He should go crazy. That's a great challenge for those young guys, though. Saying young in terms of Manu. Maybe not Skipper, but for those guys. Hutch will get Sewell. Hutch will get Sewell a lot. So take that back. Take back what I just said. I was thinking of it backwards. All right. How does Anzo get resolved? 2 years, 17 mil, not guaranteed. I think if that was the contract, the Lions would give it to him. I think the Lions would be willing to pay him that. I think the Lions would be willing to pay him 2 years, 17 million on top of this year. Does he take 2 years? Maybe. Does he take a 2-year extension? Maybe. I think he would ideally want 3. $9 million guaranteed on a 2-year deal. I don't know that he wants that. I don't know that he would want that because, one, I don't think it's enough. But maybe more specifically, it's only 2 years with $9 million guaranteed. That's like locking him in for 1 season with the second year being an out. I don't think he would take that because he might take it, right, if he does get no other deal by the time we get things going. But I think he wants to be locked in for 2 years. In that, I don't think that would do that. Penei Sewell's our best player. I would say when healthy, Hutchinson's our best player. But Sewell's got an argument for it. Sewell definitely has an argument for it. As long as pass pro is, I mean, if his pass protection ever got to any kind of the level that his run blocking was, he could be the best tackle of all time. Like, legitimately. There's that. Like, he is that good of a run blocker. I heard Alex wants closer to 13 to 15 a year. We want to give him closer to Barnes' money. What did Barnes make? Yeah, right? Because Barnes was $8 million per year. So yeah, the Lions would definitely, I think, be willing to give him $8 a year. If he wants, he's not getting 13 to 15 a year. He's not getting that. I don't see a chance the Lions pay him that. I can see him asking for that, him reposting his stats for that. I don't see a shot that the Lions would pay him $13 million to $15 million per year. I don't think that's even. Could one of his cap hits be that because of how a contract was set up? Maybe. I don't see a shot in which he makes that a year. I think $10 million's on the high end, right? Like, I think that's the high end. I don't think he gets extended. You know, I thought early on, like, he's probably going to get extended here. They're probably going to get this thing done. It'll be a 2-year deal. He'll have an out, that kind of thing. I'm not saying this as someone that wants to be pessimistic. Like, just as of now, the gut feeling I have, I'm leaning towards I don't think he gets extended. And I just hope he plays for us this year. I don't think he gets extended. But I hope he does. I mean, I would love to see him here. I love Alex. I just don't think he does. To go see AG for more. Okay, that's crazy. Hey, that's wild. But yeah, yeah, 2 years, $22 million would be a really good number, I think, on our end. I think it'd be a really good number for him. Campbell probably told Hutch to start with a 2. Taking a third string. Yeah, he's like probably. AG was the reason they got Anzo here. And it was a great fit. Like, it was truly an amazing fit, right, to come from New Orleans. And I would still love to have him. I think they still would love to have him too. But I do think that it's just, if this was 3 years ago, right, and it's like, hey, now the numbers would be different because of just where the contracts go. But if it was 3 years ago, and it was like, I need an extension, I really don't think the Lions would have a problem. Honestly, even if he wasn't here, I don't think they'd have a problem. If they knew what they knew about him, it was 3 years ago, and you could just go back in time because of where our contracts were at, I think it'd be done. I just think it's because of where our contracts are going, and they know what they have to pay and where they need flexibility. And I think that anything that gets beyond a year is like, okay, this is going to get tricky. What's up with Z? Nothing. I don't think we've heard an update on him, so I can't tell you anything about Za'Darius. I'd like to have him back. I think eventually he does get re-signed here for another year. But my thought process on that is the same as it's been really for months. I don't think anything's changed. I think the Lions are willing to pay him a certain amount, and I think that it probably hasn't gotten there. And he's being patient because I don't think Za'Darius feels a need to hurry up. Like, unless the Lions told him, hey, we need to get this thing done by training camp or within next week or something like that, or this is just not going to happen on our end. Unless that came from them, I would assume Za'Darius is like, I'm cool with not hurrying this thing. Like, what is my need to rush this? Like, doesn't my value just get better as I wait? Like, I would think. Like, I think from his perspective, like, yo, I'm in no hurry. I'd rather not do training camp, I would think. Like, hey, I'd rather miss a lot of this. I'm going to wait. I don't need to get this thing done right now. I would think. I mean, he's coming off that kind of year where I don't think he's got any pressure to get anything done. So I think the Lions are willing to also be patient with him. I think that's where both sides are on this, and the Lions are only willing to pay a certain amount. Also, I don't think either side is looking for a 2-year deal, so I think that works. And I think that the Lions realistically have more flexibility than they thought they would have once Frank retired. Like what they initially thought they could spend versus when Frank retired, I think for them, they could hold strong at like, hey, this was the number we told you, this is where it's going to stay. But realistically, in a, where you get into one of these things where both sides are going back and forth and you're truly negotiating, there's probably a little bit more wiggle room than what they initially thought they would have because of Frank Ragnar retiring and the money that clears. I'm with you. 2-year max for Enzo. Listeners watching. Like, that's just... I think, if you could get it to a price that it was 7 or 8 a year, I think it then gets on the table of him getting a 3-year deal because I think that's what Alex wants. I think Alex wants a 3-year deal. I think Alex would love a 3-year contract because typically a 3-year contract with the guarantees, you're going to get 2 of those years. There's a path where you jump off of a 3-year deal 1 year early, but I think that he would like a 3-year deal because I think he'd like to know that he's here for at least 2 more beyond this year. And if he knew that, he felt pretty comfortable that that's going to happen with his contract, I think he's taking it. And I think if it was 8 something, if it was like 8 a year, I think that we could come to an agreement. I think a 3-year 24, the deal would that could get done. It's just the balance of once we start to get into double digits each year on a per year basis, where I'm giving you 3 years, $34 million. Once it starts to get to that, 3 years, $33 million, I think now it becomes tricky. Because I think the Lions were. I would look at it like this: if I'm the Lions, I'm like, look, I'm willing to give you an extension, but I need to have an out after this year. So I'd give you a 2-year deal. We'll pay you, what we think is fair, and I think what you'd think is fair, 11 a year, something like that. And we can get this thing done, 11, 12. But we need to be able to get out after a season. So it's going to be a 2-year deal. And I think from Alex, he's like, hey, that sounds great, but that's not what I'm after. I want stability. So I need another year to know that I'm going to be here. And it's like, all right, cool. That number's got to come down. Like, I hear you. I understand why you want that. That number's got to drop. Straight up. Like, we're not giving you that per year because we are then losing just too much flexibility. And we just know we have tough decisions to make. And on top of that, we need to have flexibility. Like, we still would want to have both worlds. Like, you know what I mean? We don't want to have it be one of the things where, like, every move that we make is like, we have to do this, have to do this, have to do that. We can't do that. We know we can't do that because we gave him that. Like, I think they just, they still would like to maintain some sort of flexibility, even knowing that they have these massive contracts that are coming up. So I think that's how the contract is likely shaking out. Yeah, 3 years, $25 million, which is very similar, I think, to what Derek Barnes made. I think, didn't Derek Barnes get a... And 3 years, 35 is not a lot for what he's done. Like, truly, 3 years, 25, I think is, I think it's a really good contract on the Lions' end. If they got him for that, I think that'd be a fantastic contract on the Lions' end. Because, yeah, Barnes got 3 years, $24 million. So I think at 3 years, 25 would be, I think that'd be a very good deal for the Lions. Problem is, Derek Barnes got that off of essentially a year where he played a couple of games, and a year before that where he was trending up. He got that off of that. Now, he's younger, but that's I mean, you're not like locking him in for he got that off of that. Derek Barnes, I think, is production-wise worth more than that. I think he has a right to say, like, I need to make more. And maybe 25 is enough because that gives him a dollar amount more, essentially, or $1 million more on a per year basis. Right, than what Derek is getting, because Derek is getting 3 years, 24, essentially, right? Because he's getting 8 a year, 8, 6, 24, yeah. So maybe that would be enough. I think if that's where the number could get to, I think that's probably the best way that this thing gets done. If this thing gets done, it's probably going to look like that. Or I think if this thing actually does, because I don't think that number is going to be high enough. I think if it truly does get done, here's what I think is going to happen. The Lions are going to stand firm because this is what they've shown us all offseason so far. They've shown us from the moves they haven't made, I believe they've been very firm to what they're willing to pay. I think if it does get done, that deal is going to be 2-year extension, something like $20 million, $21, $22 million, something like that. 2-year extension, $20+ million deal for Alex. And we'll be like, that's a pretty high number. But the Lions will be like, hey, we can get out after a year. There will be a legitimate out in year 2. And I think if you get the deal, actually, if he does get to an extension, which right now I don't know that he does. I'm not like overly confident that this is going to happen because I don't know that this lines up for both sides. But if it does happen, I think it's going to look like that. Because I think that could satisfy both sides, where it gets it's probably more so what the Lions would want there, but it gives Alex a number that he's worth per year, and he could say that makes sense for what I've done. That makes sense for how valuable I am for you. That makes sense per year. And it gives the Lions hey, that's a lot, right? But we have flexibility. We have a lot of flexibility now. So we can do this. And I think that's where the contract extension happens. That happens. I could be totally off. But I think if something does go down, I think that's the number we're looking at. And that's what we'll look back and say that's what happened. I think ideally the 3 years, $24 million, something like that would be amazing. But I just don't. I really don't think that's where both sides will be able to get to. I think Alex could get to a spot where he feels comfy with that. I don't think both teams are going to be able to line up on that deal. I think it's going to have to cost more, and I think for the Lions it's going to have to be less years. And I think that if this deal did get done because of how I don't want to say stingy, but just how willing the Lions have been to put their feet in the ground and be like, yo, we're not moving, seemingly, is the Lions would be very satisfied. Lions will be very satisfied. If a deal does get done, the Lions will be very happy with the deal that it gets done. That's my assumption, because they'll have flexibility. I don't think a deal gets done without it. And if a deal does get done with less flexibility, it's just not going to be at a number that I think Alex should have made. Like, Alex should have gotten more. Like, at that point, you'd be like, yeah, Alex probably should have got more. So that's where I think this goes. TJ Reed has the longest free agent contract under Brad. It's crazy, right? Like, the only other ones would have been extensions. The DJ Reader one surprised me when he got 2 years. I mean, that's just how the Lions have done things, which respect, because that's what they told us they do. So it's like, I can't really hate it. I mean, shoot, they traded for Carlton, and the guy was gone. Like, when that trade happened, it would have been very reasonable to be like, hey, he's probably going to get extended. I think a lot of us at one point were like, yeah, after how he's playing, probably going to get extended. And it just never happened. And I would assume there's, it's a two-way street. Like, hey, we can get this thing done. Let's do it. 3 years. Let's get this thing locked in. And Derek Carlton's like, maybe not. Let's wait. I'm playing pretty well. Let me make some money. And, hey, he got his money. Lions got DJ Reed. Both sides, I think, are happy. Hutchinson is going to Waring. Depends on when he's going against Anzalone. He's got his number. Yeah, I watched that recently, and it's the drops are weird. He had like 2 legitimate drops, I think, in that game, where it was like, dude, he dropped like big pass. He dropped the first down right in his hands. Dropped it. So, yeah, hopefully that sticks. I mean, because a couple of times, like, he was open. He just dropped. The cap isn't going up fast enough to pay all the Brad's draft picks, so he is pinching pennies. Yeah, and he has to. And, it's the price of drafting well and having a lot of draft picks because of the golf trade. But we'll take it. We'll take it because it means we drafted well, so he has to. And I can appreciate it. I really can. Like, I'm with it. And I think even if Alex wasn't extended, because like I said, right now, if you had to ask me, if I had to bet on it, if I had to pick a side, like, yo, you have to choose, what do you think happens? Do you think he gets a new deal? Do you think he doesn't? I would go to the side that says he doesn't. And I'd love to keep Alex, man. I don't want any of this to be thought of like, oh, you just don't like Alex, or you don't believe Alex is that valuable. Like, no, I love Alex Anzalone. I love Alex Anzalone on the Lions. I would just lean right now. I don't think it gets done. But I think that's just where we're at, and it's just what has happened. And so even if you said that Alex didn't get a deal, you'd still have to make those decisions on these contracts. You know what I mean? Like, you're still going to have to make those. You still might have to move off these guys before their contract even becomes available, because you might have to look at it and be like, you know what? We're going to get trade value that makes more sense than letting him walk. Now, the positive is the guys that we do let walk, the hope is significant players that may end up walking, you get a comp pick, and you start to go the Philly route, and that's what this starts to go into. And that's the cycle, and, we're able to continue on that cycle. And that's why you're saying, hey, we could give up our third rounds this year to go to Isaac, because that's going to be the cycle that starts. And maybe Brad just gave us a very good insight on, like, hey, what does the future look like? It looks like this. Like, that's why we were willing to do that, because of what the future is going to look like. It's going to look like a couple of the dudes that we really like are going to walk, and we're going to get comp picks, and that's going to be the plan. It's just tough, man. It's just a lot of, Now, hey, look, I don't know what the projections are, and I always say this. I would assume NFL teams have an idea. Like, these people that are handling the cap, like Mike Disner, I got to assume they have an idea, a rough guess of where the number is going to go. They could say it goes up, but I assume they're going to have a rough percentage. Not even maybe just looking at past years. Maybe it is just looking at past years. Maybe they have an idea of what the NFL is going up by. And they have a rough idea of, like, yo, the number is going to get to this. I would assume. But even with that, could we be shocked and the cap goes way higher than any of us thought? And it's like, hey, actually, wait a minute, we could make this happen. But I don't think it'll do that. And that would, I think, be outside of projections. I think it'll continue like the 18%, that kind of thing. And that's a lot. But I don't think it's going to do that. And I don't think they can. I don't think you definitely can't make plans off of an exception, right? You can't make big decisions and plan out off of exceptions. You have to plan out what you expect. Grant could be an Alex replacement. Could be. I don't want to count him out for that. I don't think he will be. I think Malcolm is more likely I think on our roster right now, Malcolm is the most likely Alex replacement, because Alex, and it's not a good thing, or Malcolm, it's not a good thing, but it's reality. Malcolm is going to be heading in the direction of, he's coming off of seasons where he's missed legitimate time. That's this year. That's last year missing time. And because of that reason, Malcolm's contract is going to be cheaper. Kind of like, we've seen it happen, but his contract won't likely cost as much. And because of that reason, a guy that's a free agent after this year, which is Malcolm could be similar to Barnes in the sense of, hey, Malcolm's value is greater than what maybe people perceive on the market because he hasn't been available, but we understand his value. The problem is this: where does that price get to? Because if he came back and balled, I don't think I would bet that his number gets nowhere near a Derek Barnes price point, and that the Lions could get him back on an extension where they believe this guy is a starting caliber player, and we didn't have to pay him starting caliber money, and it could work out. And I don't think the market the market will push it beyond that. I don't really think that there's going to be teams that are going to be like, yo, we're going to give him way more than that, so his number is going to go a lot higher. I don't think that'll happen. But if it did, then the conversation would have to be Malcolm versus Alex. Do we jump on getting Alex back for a couple years or 3 years, and we're paying him more than maybe we want to, but we know we have Alex? Or do we say, hey, let's keep Malcolm around because this could continue to re-up his age. We can continue to make this happen. I don't think that'll have to be the conversation because I don't think his number will get that high. Like I said, the benefit of Malcolm missing time is he can be valuable and he can be good for us and he can continue to get better and show us flexibility and all these things, which is amazing. And I think the Lions would love to have a guy like Malcolm that they're like, hey, we can put him on the ball and be comfortable. They can do all of these things, can connect. And yet I don't think his price is going to push to the level of what Derek Barnes is. Because I just don't think that he's had enough out there. Even when he's been healthy, he hasn't always been a starter. Like, Barnes has become the guy for us. He's never gotten there. So I think Malcolm is the most likely replacement from Alex. Not this year, but in the future. Zach, I think, is the most likely replacement right now because of where he's at health-wise and where we're at health-wise. He is the most likely replacement for Alex. If Alex doesn't show up and he's like, I'm just not playing, the most likely replacement is definitely Zach Cunningham this year. But I think just like the best world for the Lions could be, we get him back. We're paying Malcolm an extension that is worthy because he wasn't available, and that he's willing to agree to ignore that. But at the same time, we know that, hey, this dude can start, and we'd be comfortable with it. So we can make this thing shake. We can make this happen. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a possibility. If Enzo is really gone, it's Malcolm's Turner's spot to take behind Campbell and Barnes. So long term, probably. I wouldn't throw Turner into that either, though, because Turner's like 30. Malcolm, yes. I don't think I'd put Turner. I think Turner's like 30 years old. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's way older than I thought he was. He might be 29. So, at that point, if Cunningham's going to be your guy this year, Cunningham probably has the same chance of being the guy as anybody, or more so of a chance than Turner. And Zach Cunningham, could be a better player. From what we know so far, he is a better player. But Cunningham, I like how you brought up Zach Cunningham, because Cunningham is a little bit of a sleeper. Like, Zach Cunningham did actually some good things. I only remembered the bad from him last year, but he did do some good things, and I could see them liking him. Like Zach Cunningham's skill set says that he could be a good coverage linebacker. And I think Cunningham is a good coverage linebacker. I think he's a plus coverage linebacker. I won't put him on the Alex Anzalone level. That's what makes him so valuable. But he's capable. And the reason I say Malcolm is because Malcolm Rodriguez got to the point last year where you watch him and you're like, oh, Malcolm's getting a lot better. Like, Malcolm can really cover right now. Like, so this is why this can work. And that's where, and I would, Like, look, if you told me that, hey, next year your starting linebackers are Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, and Malcolm, I'd be like, sounds good to me. Like, from what I've seen so far, I'd be like, that works. You can draft someone for competition, but I'm comfortable with that. I'd feel very comfortable with that. So, I'm good. Like, hey, that works for me. No, I would disagree. I think Cunningham, the last time we saw him, played well. When I went through, I think I went through 6 of his games, 6 or 7. No, we did the breakdown, so I don't remember exactly, but I liked what I saw. The statistics back him up historically, not maybe as recent, but historically. But I actually liked what I saw from Zach, and it wasn't based on numbers. I'd never do. You guys know I don't do these videos based on numbers. That doesn't mean I'm always right. That's just what I took away. And from doing that and just going, I don't even know what his numbers were when I did that video, and I liked him. I thought he played well. I liked how he played. I had a lot of solid grades that could be a starting player. So. I'm very optimistic on Zach Cunningham being able to start this year. Malcolm is quick like Enzo. Yeah, and Malcolm can be our starter long term. Malcolm could be the starter next year, and I think if this was Madden, that's how I would do it. I'd be like, hey, this isn't gonna happen. Malcolm, you're the guy. But also, Malcolm's probably not that good on Madden, which is crazy. But he's probably not. He's probably not. You know how Madden do. All right, with that, I think we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. Shout out to everybody joining. Late night live. Hey, look, I don't know what the plan is tomorrow. I know they have practice. I don't know when it is. Maybe y'all know. So I don't know when we're going to get any notes. Obviously, I'm not going to be there. So I don't know when we're going to hear anything. So if I don't hear anything early tomorrow, it might just drop, late tomorrow, because I'll have to come back from practice and then make something happen. And I don't know if that'll be live. If it's early tomorrow, it'll be a video. If it's in the middle of the day tomorrow, it's probably going to be a live stream, because I won't have time to edit. And if it's at night, it could be a live or a video. It just depends on how fast I'm able to kind of put it together, because I have to account for that editing time. Or it'll just be a video that doesn't have a lot of editing. And I'm cool with doing those too. I've tried to get to that point. I'm just not great at doing that, but I've tried to kind of transition to that. But we'll just have to see how that shakes out. Anyways, though, shout out to everybody joining. I was going to clip this up. But I don't know that I'm going to. I think this was pretty good. So, I'm pretty comfy with how this went. So we'll see. I might edit it, but probably not. It's the first day. We'll have more notes tomorrow, so there's probably no reason to really edit this down. I think I'm just gonna leave it as it is. So shout out to everybody that saw this live. If you're just joining, if you're on X, man, head over to YouTube. Show some love on YouTube, man. And feel free to run it back. Nowoski, the next Tavai. Hey, don't disrespect that boy Jelani Tavai on the way out, Zach. Don't do him like that, all right? Jelani's doing his thing in New England. They love him. They just gave him an extension, all right? But no, hey, look, man. That's crazy. I don't even know how to respond to that. That's crazy. I wish it would have worked out here, man. I really do. You know how cool that would have been? It's like, yo, think of that story writes itself, man. Think about that documentary for Jelani as a Lion. From no highlights. Hey, time out. Don't do me like that. From no highlights on draft day to absolute dog. Jelani Tavai. That is amazing. That's must-watch TV. Forget quarterback. I'm watching that. I'm watching that TV show. I'm watching 10 episodes of that. It just didn't happen here. But he could still have a documentary made. Maybe not a big one, but he could have one. It's just from didn't know who he was when we drafted him with the Lions to success in New England. It'd be a very similar movie or documentary to the one that can be written about Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy. They might star together in that one. So good for them. I'm glad they're doing well. yes, Tavai and Van Noy star together. Good for them. I'm happy they're doing well. You know, I'm glad they did well and they made it happen. Truly, I am. I just wish it was here. I was screaming at TV to draft AJ Brown. We took Tavai. Well, hey, I can promise you one thing. I don't think anybody was screaming to draft Tavai. I would tell you that. And truly, I wasn't following the draft like that back then. Never heard of him. We drafted him, didn't know a thing about him, and then we couldn't find highlights, and that's why we know this. Never heard of the guy. So that's, there we go. Maybe just a little more Mutai love. Yeah, that is weird. DT favorite, that's one thing. I don't think anybody's given Nitane Mutai love outside of you. I've never seen a person comment on an X post, on anything, on someone else's YouTube video. I don't feel like I've really ever seen much love. Maybe I've missed it. And if that person's out there, shout out to you. I just don't think I've seen it. There just haven't been it. DT family, you've held it down, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you for doing that. Because when he's a dog, we're going to come back and be like, yo, he's been saying this for years, bro. And we haven't said a thing, man, except for this guy. I'm done now, Dose. Have a good one. You too, man. Appreciate you. JEC2125. I like that. It's got a little ring to it. Ooh, I like that too. What is that? Is that a hologram or is that real? That's fire. That's fire. Yes. Hey, Mutai and Nice are the beast. Okay, dude, that was bad. Mutai and Nice, the beast, are the backup practice squad trench warriors. Hey, that's some love, though. That's some love. That's more than usual. That's some love. I'm leading this push. The Nitane Mutai fan club president. Yeah, you are. You are. You absolutely are. And, you're leading the push of literally the strongest offensive lineman of all time. Like, literally, has anybody beaten that record? I don't know. He had like 50 bench press reps or something crazy. All right, though. Yeah, we going to get out of here. Appreciate y'all, man. Have a great night. I don't know what to say. I was going to say something cool there. I always I'm like, yo, say something fire. Leave them with something great. Something that they're thinking about tomorrow. Like, yo, don't forget what he said when I was watching that live stream. I just don't got it. I don't got it. I don't know what that would be. I would love, you know what? I'm going to give you something. I'm not looking this up. Wait, hold up. I don't like what that did. Give me 1 second. We're gonna end this on the right note. Here we go. Catch you on the flip side. Stay epic. Gosh, this is bad. No, this is really bad. No, this is good. Stay epic. We'll vibe again soon.